Je pouvais parler un petit peu de français, mais si je fais cette présentation en français, ça serait mauvais pour vous et pour moi. Alors, je voulais parler anglais. Je m'excuse. My name is Mack FLAVELLE. I help make CryptoKitties, and today I'd like to tell you about CryptoKitties. So let's get that started. Let's start with what is CryptoKitties. So CryptoKitties are clearly a bunch of cute cartoon cats. What makes them different than other cute cartoon cats you may have encountered in your life is that they exist on the Ethereum blockchain. When I'm talking to somebody on the train about what I do for a living, I say Bitcoin cats. And obviously that doesn't do it nearly enough justice, but in the simplest of terms, that's what it is. The reality is it's a game where people can breed, trade, collect, and sell rare, scarce, exclusive cats on the blockchain. I'm going to tell you how we got here. First of all, some details about the market. We have done, depending on how you count the math, between 25 and 50 million US dollars in market volume moving through our ecosystem since we launched in November. There are over 800,000 cats total. Over 100 kitties have sold for over $10,000. Over 10 kitties have sold for over $100,000. And a couple weeks ago, we sold a cat for $140,000. We also sell lots of cats for $1 and $2. This whole ecosystem has a range of accessibility depending on your sort of financial liberty. The interesting thing here is 86.9% of blockchain gaming. Now my guess is most people here have never played a blockchain game, and that sort of is a good counterpoint to the fact that we are a tremendous amount of the blockchain gaming transactions. We are absolutely, by miles, the biggest fish in the pond, but to be honest, the pond isn't very big today. That pond is growing every day. We will continue to be the biggest fish and or cat if we do things right, which I hope we do. I'm going to tell you how we came to CryptoKitties, how we got here. So I work at a company called Axiom Zen, and Axiom Zen is an innovation foundry or a venture studio. We build products, we build businesses, we build all sorts of things. We are about 60, actually now we're more like 100 people, mostly based in Vancouver, Canada. And we build all sorts of things. We built ZenHub, which is basically Kanban boards embedded inside GitHub. It's super boring, super useful, very cool business, used by X percentage of the Fortune 500. It helps developers write better code and project managers connect better. I use it every day. It is not CryptoKitties. We built Timeline, which won an Apple Award for design and was a news in context app. So instead of just getting the news, get the history of the news that you're reading about. We built Toby, which is a Chrome extension for managing tabs. It won a Google Chrome Web Store Award, Product Hunt Chrome Extension of the Year. We've built games and all sorts of things in between. We build stuff. The magic of Axiom Zen is the quality of people that work there. And the first employee ever was French, so woo, la France, vive la France. That's what we do at Axiom Zen. And at Axiom Zen, I got sort of acquired because they bought my VR media company. We'll call it acqui-hired. And I spent 2 years there just building all sorts of products. I had a small team, and I basically led our consumer effort. So everything on mobile that we were doing that was for people at the end of the line, people like you. We built semi-anonymous messaging apps. Again, we built games. We built location-based stuff. We built Chrome extensions to deliver good news. We built all sorts of crazy stuff. And in those 2 years, I had exactly 0 meaningful success whatsoever. And then last summer, my boss came to me and he said, hey, the blockchain is a really big deal. And you now work on the blockchain. And I was like, nope, no I don't, fuck that. And he's like, you work here, just by the way, and we are focusing on the blockchain and you're coming along for the ride. And I was like, So I went and looked into it, and then I was like, oh, it's kind of intriguing actually. There's some really big ideas here. So I went into the woods, metaphorically. I started thinking. I've always liked the idea of breeding games, like combining things with new things emerging, all the Dragon Hunter, those kinds of games. I've always liked CryptoPunks since I first saw them. I don't know if you guys know what CryptoPunks are. They're 10,000 unique images. They look like bad guys from like Final Fight or something. They're these little 16-bit bad guys. And I saw those, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And so I came, and at the time in my consumer efforts there, where I was building all these consumer products, I had a theory, and people think I'm kidding, but the theory was that if you are, and I'm not kidding, the theory is if you're building consumer products, they should be opt-out for cats, not opt-in. As in, you should not explain why you're using cats. You should explain why you are not using cats. Because cats are the gasoline of the internet. Like, the fire just burns brighter, right? So combining sort of those different things, breeding games and amazing things like CryptoPunks and Rare Pepe and Spells of Genesis and these early explorations of art and gaming on the blockchain, and cats, I pulled 2 engineers into a room at work, and I said, guys, we're going to put cats on the blockchain. And they looked at me. Just like this, they didn't say nothing. They just looked at me. And after like 3 seconds, the fuck are you talking about? What does that even mean? I said, honestly, I don't totally know, but I tell you it's going to be a big deal. And I work with exceedingly intelligent people, creative, effective, smart people. And so I brought this idea of cats on the blockchain to the team of people I work with, and they managed to turn it into something big and beautiful and amazing and loved by many people. We started building. We went to ETH Waterloo. So ETH Waterloo at the time, Waterloo's a city in Canada, and ETH Waterloo was the biggest Ethereum hackathon/conference in the world at the time. I think you can see those pictures. You see all the ridiculous tie-dye shirts and the balloons and everything. The guys that we sent to that conference didn't have tickets to get in. They spent the first 4 hours, at least half of them spent the first 4 hours standing out front begging to get in. And we got in, and Benny, who's on the left there, maybe you're right, but on my left, is a maniac in the best sense of the word. He is a guerrilla marketing genius, and he was like, we're gonna let people know. So we brought a really terrible alpha of this product. It was bare bones, it barely worked. And we brought a lot of attention. And this made sense because everybody who mattered in the Ethereum ecosystem was in this space at once, right? They were all gathered around that watering hole. So if we were trying to get their attention, which we were, this was the place to be. We launched ETH Waterloo Motherboard, the Vice sort of tech publication, wrote a little thing about us. We were excited. We still had a month to launch. Then we did a beta launch. And our beta launch, because of ETH Waterloo and because we'd been getting a little bit of momentum, we had a Telegram group with about 100 people in it, I think, before we launched. And we launched a like 3-day private beta. We did a bug bounty, which was cool, but then we did a 3-day private beta. And in the 3-day private beta, what we did was we added people who worked at Axiom Zen, but who didn't work on CryptoKitties. There's like 12 people on CryptoKitties at this point. And remember, the company was 60 or 70 people then. So we invited everybody in, and we gave them $20 worth of ETH each. And we're like, hey, just come play and mess with it and figure it out. No word of a lie, we lost hundreds of hours of productivity in the office. And we're like, huh. Boss was pissed, but I was like, huh, this is interesting. After 1 or 2 days of just having our team internally playing with it, we invited that small group of beta users. And within 24 hours, somebody walked up to me and said, hey, thanks for the trip to Vietnam. I said, what are you talking about? And they said, I made $2,000 selling cats in the last 24 hours. And we were like, huh, okay. That wasn't predicted. That's cool, though. We loved it. And so then we did our real launch. We launched on November 28th. I think we might have been a day late because, bugs. But basically, we launched on November 28th. It was pretty cool. We launched. I remember I was at my parents' house that weekend, and I came upstairs, and I looked at my phone, and somebody was like, you just sold a cat for $30,000. No. You're mistaken. But they weren't. We'd sold a cat for $30,000, and they started flying off the shelves. So I'm going to quickly explain how this works, because there's some subtlety here. CryptoKitties is essentially a giant marketplace where people sell cats to each other. They breed cats with each other. The vast amount of transactions that happen in the CryptoKitties ecosystem happen between players. And we take a small cut of those transactions. We take 3.75%. If you use our marketplace, I'm going to get into ownership in a minute, but one of the ideas that's really important to us here is true ownership, that if you own something, you own it, not us. And so if you own a cat and you want to give it to somebody, or you own a cat and you want to breed with somebody and you do that directly, that's absolutely your business and has nothing to do with us. And we don't take any cut from that. It's your cat, your ownership. But if you use our marketplace, we take 3.75%. The other thing we do is for 1 year and 1 year only, ending in November, we release a clock cat, which is a cat that comes from our system every 15 minutes. And we take all the proceeds from those clock cats. Those clock cats are also how we introduce new genes into the ecosystem, because we have a handful of genes when we started, hundreds of genes when we're done, and we introduce these new genes on a semi-regular basis through the clock cats, so our community loves to go find the new genes, whether that's a new color or a new eye shape or a new tail or whatever it is. When we launched, we melted the Ethereum network, straight up. Ethereum, just in case you don't know, is a blockchain like Bitcoin. Lots of people heard about Bitcoin. Ethereum is another one. What makes Ethereum different from Bitcoin is that you can run contracts, which are basically apps, on top of the network. So Bitcoin is very good for saying, I have X, I gave you Y, now I have X minus Y, and you have Y. Ethereum allows for a far more elaborate things to be done on this giant decentralized network. The Ethereum network's a pretty big deal. I think it's like a $30 billion network, and we bent it over and burned it to the ground, briefly. That was super stressful in the beginning, to be honest. We had many people who were very angry at us, and I felt bad about that for like 6 hours. And then I started to really enjoy it. I did, because I don't know who knows about the ICO scams, but there was all these ICOs, and they're not all scams, absolutely, but lots of them are, and some of them fall somewhere between bad idea, scam, and genuinely good community trying to build something. We canceled many ICOs because they were scheduled to launch when we launched, and we brought the network down. All of these mouth-breathing, living in their mom's basement, hate the government, hate the bank, decentralist maximalists were furious with us. And I grew to love that. Their revolution was getting squashed by my pink cats. I felt like that was cool. CryptoKitties worked, to be honest. Like, it was a sensation. I like to argue that we have the third best brand in consumer crypto. The first thing that everybody's heard of course, Bitcoin. The second thing that everybody's heard of, or many people have heard of, is Coinbase. And the third thing is CryptoKitties. So I'm going to go into a couple different points about why it worked. First, the market was hot. I mean, it was kind of luck, it was kind of timing, but by the time we released CryptoKitties, every news article, every news outlet was desperate to have an article that could mention something to do with blockchain, or Bitcoin, or decentralization, or Ethereum. We got the timing right. I've launched many, many products with the timing wrong, dead in the water. But we got this one right. That worked. Consumer expertise. So look at that website. Collectible, breedable, adorable, collect and breed digital cats. Start meow. It actually doesn't mention decentralization or the blockchain. It has pink buttons. It has cute cartoon cats. At the moment that we launched this, 98% of people who were building for the blockchain were hardcore developers who were building for each other and had no thought to the consumer experience with any kind of subtlety or in-depth thought. We are an award-winning design company. So when we pointed ourselves at the blockchain, we brought world-class engineers, world-class designers, world-class UX people. And lots of people are doing this on the blockchain now, which is awesome. It's better for all of us. But we pioneered this idea of just pointing a world-class software team at the blockchain. Our team trusted each other. Can't say enough about that. Some of these people have worked together for 5 years. Like I said, the first employee ever of Axiom Zen is named Pierre. He's a French guy. He's my favorite. I introduced him to Axiom Zen, actually, before I worked there. But we have trust. Like, we have built things together. We have succeeded together. We've failed together. We know about the nuance of each other's weird diets. Arthur eats chicken and broccoli and rice every single day for lunch. He's also a brilliant friend and engineer. I know all that about Arthur. So I said before that we added pink buttons and that kind of thing, and that's true, and that made it good for consumers, but we also made a bunch of decisions that really appealed to the Ethereum community. I'm gonna get in trouble for that neckbeard slide. But we did things like not do an ICO. So the ICO, just in case you're not familiar, is when you say, I'm gonna build a product, this product, I'm gonna create a coin, some kind of magical coin that's gonna be useful in the future for this product that I'm building. And if you buy the coin now at 10 cents on the dollar, later when it's worth $1, you're gonna make 10 times your profit, and oh my God, you're gonna get rich, and it's gonna be amazing. And everybody in the blockchain space likes to build ICOs on top of Ethereum to launch their coin and then their product. There's been ICOs that have raised millions of dollars in minutes, hundreds of millions of dollars in a day. There's a couple billion-dollar ICOs, and we didn't do it. That was a contentious topic around the office, right? We were like, hey, we could have $10 million to build this thing, or we could not. And we decided not to because it wasn't good for the user. It served no real purpose. And we even have a game where virtual coins make a lot of sense, but at the end of the day, there was no real value for our user in doing an ICO, so we didn't. I wrote a blog post called Fuck Your ICO, which I'm sure I'm gonna regret. But I wrote that the week before we launched. And we did another thing. We don't have our prices listed in anything but Ether. This is super non-easy to grok. First time you go buy a CryptoKitty, it's like 0.00365 ETH to buy a cat. You're like, what? But that made sense to the people who loved Ethereum, who were our original target market. One of the things that I'm proud of is that it's probably hard to prove, but it's very, very likely that we have more women involved in our community and in our crypto project than any other project in this space. We have Midwesterners. We have people from all over the world. We have non-Ethereum obsessed people. And that's amazing. That's what we grew our community to. We're very proud of that. But we started making this for people who owned Ether, who loved Ethereum, and we grew it from there. So we made a bunch of good choices for our users that were unfortunately not conventional at the time. It's fun. Well, why it worked is fun. It's neat. It's really exciting, man. Like, people love these cats, and I'll show you some examples of people loving these cats, but we made a cool experience. There's not enough to do. We're building out this whole Kittyverse thing. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but basically it was a good game. I mean, it's a very simple game. I'm intimately aware of lots of the criticism, I assure you, but ultimately it's kind of fun. And this is the thing. You don't have to care about crypto to care about cats. We got so many messages from people in the early days being like, hey, I've been in Bitcoin since 2011. I've been in Bitcoin since 2013. My boyfriend never understood why. He now owns Ethereum, understands the gas costs, and has 16 cats. Thank you. The cats were the bridge, right? This is what I was saying before about consumer products. Just use cat. It's the gasoline of the internet and the blockchain, apparently. So that is CryptoKitties. I told you about its launch. I told you loosely what it is. It's a game where people breed and buy cats. Now I'm going to tell you some cool stories about CryptoKitties. Nick and his cow. Cows, plural. So we did a bug bounty. That cat you see on the screen there is a bug cat. And what we did is we had this bug bounty. We exposed all our contracts to the whole world. We said, hey, go through our contracts, and we'll give you money if you find critical flaws. But more than that, we're going to create a special exclusive cat for you. In this case, it was the bug cat. It's that one there. There was only 3 of them. And this guy, Nick, who got a bug cat, created a deal with somebody else where they bid up the price of this cat between each other. Other people were opting in. They sold the cat for like $92,000 and went and bought cows for families that need cows. I forget how many cats they bought. It says it in there probably. But literally life-changing for a whole bunch of people that they gave these cows to who now had meat and milk and who didn't have access to that previously. It was the first time where we're like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Like, we're excited about CryptoKitties, but somebody who doesn't care about crypto or cats or weird Canadians messing with the internet is really grateful about what we did. And we love that. Bella in the hospital. So Bella is the girl on the, again, my right, probably your left. And Bella and her dad play CryptoKitties. Now, to be clear, CryptoKitties is not for kids. We do not encourage kids to play CryptoKitties. That is her dad. Her dad is Brian. He's cool. They loved CryptoKitties. They were super into it. They emailed me and they said, hey, Bella thinks this is really exciting. We live in Seattle. She wants to use all of her fun and success with CryptoKitties to do something nice for the community. So they created an account where they just bought and sold cats and managed to give $15,000 to the Children's Hospital of Seattle with these cats. Our community galvanized around it. It was super fun, super cool. These are some of the weird stuff that comes out of what we did. So the Ethereal Summit, this was the $140,000 cat that we sold. All $140,000 from that cat went to be donated to a charity that was allowing art and blockchain to work together. So I think they're giving a bunch of sort of scholarships to artists working on the blockchain. We sold this in New York. This is an exclusive cat. Quick side note, we have all our normal cats, right? You have a pink cat with blue eyes and a fluffy tail and a certain kind of mouth or whatever. And then you have another cat that is different. It's green and it's red and it has angry eyes and it has a different tail. And if you breed those two cats together, the child will have the genes of some of the mother, some of the father, and that's very cool. If that cat has a specific recipe, the right kind of eyes, the right kind of nose, the right kind of mouth, it will become a fancy cat. And a fancy cat is more than some of the parts. So I showed you like the duck cat that was up there before. There's others. I'll show you some others. These fancy cats are limited edition, and they are different than the normal cats, but we also have exclusive cats. And exclusive cats cannot be bred to. There's no way to magically get them. They are exceedingly unique. The bug cat that I showed you, there's 3 of those. There will only ever be 3 of those. This is the Ethereal Cat. Auction for $140,000. It also came on a little circuit board that had a little 8-bit version of the cat on it. It was a really neat thing. Launched in New York. Big deal. And I love this one. Back at ETH Denver, which was not ETH Waterloo, we did this other thing called ETH Denver. And there was these kids who were at the conference because they are part of a program for at-risk youth. Youth that maybe are going to get into some trouble at some point, possibly. This program was, I guess, using technology to sort of inspire them to follow alternate paths. And they built CryptoKitties. I haven't shown you the CryptoKitties website, but I promise you that website looks identical to ours. And that's awesome. These 17-year-old, I think the youngest one was like 14, these kids came in and started building things that they loved on top of our technology. I love that stuff, I really do. We'll talk about extensibility in a bit. Okay, here's all the weird stuff fans have made. So there's dog collars, there's skateboards, people knit things, people paint things. Yes, there's 2 different tattoos. People go to town for the CryptoKitties. And an interesting thing about what we did, to be honest, is when we launched, I believe that we were the first collectible, like baseball cards or Beanie Babies or coins or stamps, whatever it is. I believe that in the history of all of humanity, every single collectible on Earth had a devout group of people who loved it, and that community grew and grew before the first opportunist speculator showed up. And the opportunist shows up and says, hey, I can buy this from you and sell it to you and make some money along the way. Those people were there on day 1 from CryptoKitties. And they are a part of our success, but they're also one of the big challenges of what we're doing, because they are obsessed with the price of cats, not with the fun of game or with the love of the cats. These people here love the cats, and I love these people. These are the ones that we get out of bed for. They're amazing. There's basically 3 big ideas in crypto. Well, there's probably a couple more, but I'm going to tell you about 3 big ideas. Oh, by the way, those are all fancy cats. Remember I said that there's fancy cats that are cool? Those are them, and I love them. Do you see the fruit hat cat in the bottom corner? That one's from my daughter. It's amazing. And I said to my daughter, my kids love CryptoKitties, right? We go to bed, I'm putting them to bed, and they just invent CryptoKitties. It's weird, but it's fun. It's a cool thing to do with your kids. And my daughter said, I want Fruit Hat Cat. I was like, okay, I'll get it done. So I got Fruit Hat Cat done. I'd never seen it. I went to my grandmother's funeral. My grandmother was an amazing woman. I loved her so much. I came home from the funeral. I opened my email, and I saw that cat for the first time. Besides the fruit hat, this is weird to say, but it looks identical to my grandmother. The moo-moo, the teeth, the whole thing. I was like, oh my God, they made my grandmother a cat. They didn't even know. I love that. Here's some of the big ideas in CryptoKitties. Ownership. So the internet's been weird for us as a culture, right? A bunch of these things that have historically always been true. The entire human experience is built around some assumptions, some constructs, some social, unspoken truths, and the internet has destroyed some of those. Ask the music industry about it. In many cases, we thought, or continue to think, that the change brought about by the internet was simply the new world order. Remember Napsters? Remember the whole like stealing music thing, stealing movies and all that? People were freaking out. This entire generation of children are degenerate thieves. The world is over. This is awful. Today, I mean, I don't know, but I doubt that any of you have stolen a song or a movie in the last week. Whereas if we had done this 20 years ago, everyone would have been like, oh yeah, I did Britney Spears last night. The world is different, but not necessarily just different as we thought it would be. Change continues to evolve, right? People always sort of assume that at their moment in history, they are living in the defined future. But in fact, the future is quite tumultuous. My point is that we allow for ownership on the internet, true ownership in a way that didn't exist before. Ownership in such a way that if CryptoKitties goes away as a company, your cats don't. They live forever. They live longer than anybody in this room, longer than our company. They are essentially eternal. As long as we have the internet, the Smithsonian is going to be keeping an Ethereum node going, and these CryptoKitties will live on them. And they are yours. We cannot take them from you. That was frustrating for users. People would sell a cat for the wrong price, get a hold of me, and be like, give me my cat back. I can't help you. You did a transaction with that person. Between you and them, true ownership has upsides and downsides. Scarcity. So this is one of the big things that's interesting about the blockchain. Right there you have Genesis. That's that cat. That is cat number 1, like literally the first cat. Sold for lots of money. It's very beautiful. And there is and will only be one for all time. It is truly scarce. Yes, I can absolutely, one of you can take a picture of the screen right now, say, hey, I have a picture of Genesis, put it on the background of your phone or whatever, and be like, no, I got a Genesis. You can also do that with Louis Vuitton bags or rare movie posters, whatever it is. I mean, we can't stop cheap fakes in any industry. But there's authentically, provably, truly scarce items. And the first wave of this is cartoon cats. 5 years from now, I have no idea what kind of amazing things will finally able to be scarce again in a way that the internet destroyed previously to this. Last big idea is extensibility, and this is the most exciting thing in the world for me, of like literally everything that we've talked about. We built CryptoKitties, you breed cats, you collect cats, you buy, trade, and sell cats. And that's cool. Some people want more. Some people are like, hey, like I would like some richness of experience, some depth of the gameplay. And we are working hard on fleshing that out. We really are. I have a team of amazing people that I'm working with to try and make that happen. But far more interesting than that is the people who are not us, who are working on that. Kitty Race is a racing game. Granted, it's fairly elementary, but it is a racing game with your cats, where you bring your cats in depending on when you put them in the race, depending on the genes of the cats, depending on the other cats, you have a race and you win. I found out about Kitty Race because I read it in the news. Those guys did not have to ask us for permission. This is the nature of the blockchain. These cats are real, they exist in the world, and if you own it and you want to build an experience around it, again, that is your business, not mine. Kiddie Battles is kind of Hearthstone for cats. I'm super stoked about that one. I'm really into Hearthstone lately. I know I'm like 5 years late, but I'm really into Hearthstone. And I've seen a couple different versions of these card games using the cats to build gameplay for people who own the cats. There is all sorts of tools. We made choices about how much information we would expose inside the CryptoKitties interface, all sorts of things. And our early users said, nope, wrong choice, not enough. We want this or we want that. And then they went and built it. And they can do that because the blockchain allows for extensibility. What's really cool about the Kitty Race people is that it's not just technology extensibility, it's community extensibility. I went and talked to the Kitty Race people getting all worked up about this technology and you just extend it. And they're like, dude, yeah, that's fine. But what's amazing is on day one when we launched, thousands of people showed up with their friends and with their rivalries. We were able to extend your community. And that becomes very, very interesting, extrapolated to its sort of nth potential. The other one I'll talk about quickly is Kitty Hats. So Kitty Hats is hats on cats. Obviously, it's wild. They build costumes for your cats. Taking it even one step farther, there's this amazing art project out of New York called data.nyc. It is sort of blockchain collaborative art. You can take art that you buy at Data and apply it as a sticker to kitty hats. So now your cat owns a hat, but not only does it own a hat, it owns an easel with rare art put on top of it. And we didn't do any of that. We love it, we celebrate it, we're trying to figure out how to support these people more, but it wasn't us that did it.